In just a few sentences, what is the algorithm?
Yeah, it is. How do you do big things and how do you do it sustainably and how do you do it with fulfillment? And it is goals are the quintessential piece of it. We're wired for that. But then ultimately, what's the goal? What about me or my situation is going to help me to get to that goal? What about me or my situation is going to hurt me getting to that goal? The next piece is of those things, what can I control? What do I have control over of the things that are about me that are helping me or hurting me get to the goal? And then what decisions do I have to make? And the algorithm kind of alignment came from just playing with another idea. And I called a good friend of mine who sits on the Olympic Committee board now, a guy named James Higa, who James was, helped build Apple with Steve Jobs and help, mentors the Slack CEO and Airbnb. And he understands algorithms and social media stuff like no one else I know. And I called him because I just had questions about how all that worked. And the way that he described it to me was that you've got, at this point now, no one really knows how Instagram's algorithm works. Few people maybe, but otherwise, everybody's working on their own fiefdoms, but no one sees how the whole thing goes. And he would explain it as you have a bunch of, in essence, continuums or levers, and on either side of them are like, it's not quite a toggle, but you can move it from here to here and move it all in between. And now there's millions of them. And for me, I thought about that's kind of how life works is you decide, am I going to think about this way, or somewhere in the middle? But as soon as I make this change, then all these other changes happen. As soon as I decide that I'm going to work harder and compartmentalize and do more stuff at work, well, then that then affects relationships. That then affects health. That affects diet. Affects all these other things. Just a tiny bit of a change. And if you're not aware of those changes that happen, then you can't. Then you have a hard time, helping the fallout from it.
Mhm. So, reflecting back, you are done competing in college as a track athlete. You get this kernel of idea to start going into bobsled. What are the life algorithms or the changes that you made starting at that time that led you progress down that line?
That's a great question. For me, the goal was go to the Olympics.
Mhm.
People ask all the time, you must have just loved bobsled. No, I didn't. I loved winning. I loved the goal. And I look back and the goal was go to the Olympic Games. It had been that way since I was 11 years old doing Junior Olympics. That was the goal for track. That was the running around the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Stadium with my sister, looking for Olympians to take pictures with.
Mhm.
Like that was my formative experiences. My email signature still has a picture of me at 5 years old wearing the USA Olympics rings, sweatshirt.
Yeah.
So the goal was that the self-awareness was I keep getting hurt and I had to face the brutal reality of that I could not, keep myself healthy while still having the faith that I could keep myself healthy and be productive and how I was going to balance those two things and recognize it. And that was the self-awareness piece, like sitting on that couch that day, recognizing I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to do and it wasn't working and having the awareness to go, I guess I have to do this differently. And because this just isn't going to work. I still believe I can do it. And there's a great book, Good to Great by Jim Collins, and he quotes Admiral Stockdale paradox. And it was an admiral who was captured in Vietnam, and he was in, I think he was in the Hanoi Hilton, like one of the worst POW camps, and he was there for years. And when he got out, they asked him, "How did you survive? How did all these people died? How did you survive?" And he said it was the people who would say, "Well, I'll be out by Christmas." And then Christmas would come and Christmas would go. And then I'll be out by Easter. And then Easter would come and Easter would go. And they'd, in essence, die of a broken heart. He
Mhm.
said they weren't facing the reality that was in front of them while then still believing they could get out. And I look back on that 22-year-old kid on the couch, and that's what I was doing. And then I had to figure out what I can control. And then I had decisions to make. And those decisions happen every day. It's
Mhm.
not like I made one decision, I'm not going to get hurt and then go. It was every time these things come up in front of me, it was like a giant Plinko board where there's one slot at the bottom is the $10,000 from Price is Right. And then it's just the little chip, just,
Yeah.
but you can control that chip and you can wake up and you can decide whether I'm going to get out of bed this day. You can decide these little things at a time. And it's all this aggregating of all those little things in our lives that lead you to go and be either become great at what you want, be the best, be happy, whatever it is, or you don't.
Mhm.